Today's episode of Inside Gaming Daily is sponsored by MeUndies. To get 15% off your first pair, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/InsideGaming.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Tuesday. It's Fart in Your Coworker's Face Tuesday.
Slap them on the wagon Tuesday.
Smack them in the nads so they can't have children Tuesday.
It's all out of fun, okay guys? It's completely normal. Stop suing me, all of you out there.
If you've been paying attention to the video game news at all over the last year, you probably know there have been some issues at Riot Games.
Oh, I thought we might have been done with this, but no, the League of Legends developer has come under fire after allegations of gender discrimination and sexual harassment.
First got reported last year by Kotaku, who described a toxic work environment at the League of Legends developer, cited a bunch of allegations of sexism and other bad behavior by management.
And after that report, 2 women who worked at Riot sued the company, accused the developer of violating the California Equal Pay Act, as well as gender discrimination, retaliation, and harassment. Got all 3 of them in there.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah, the suit was settled in August, but we didn't know the terms until now. Brian, can you enlighten us?
Yeah, so the LA Times did some actual reporting and got a hold of some court documents. They detail exactly how much Riot agreed to pay the women who worked there. So the big headline is Riot apparently agreed to pay at least $10 million as part of the settlement. Or they'll pay in Riot bucks.
Oh, well that's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot, but when you break that down, it's actually not really. It's a pretty paltry slap on the wrist for such an enormous company, which sucks, but isn't really surprising.
We'll break down all the math for you guys later in the episode so you can see why we feel this way, but first, let's hear from the real victim, the developer.
Oh, thank God we're
Riot
getting
is the
equal
victim
representation. For its part, Riot sounded downright happy about the settlement. A Riot spokesperson said in a statement, "We're pleased to have a proposed settlement to fully resolve the class action lawsuit. The settlement is another important step forward and demonstrates our commitment to living up to our values and to making Riot an inclusive environment for the industry's best talent." Man.
Yeah.
Well said, Brian.
We're pleased that we only had to give up 0.7% of our sweet League of Legends money.
But how will they give their children a good Christmas this year?
Looks like it's Brown instead of Harvard for you, Jimmy.
Hope you like the upper middle class.
Yeah, and if you'll recall, the lawsuit detailed some pretty crappy behavior on the part of Riot executives, some of whom still work there.
Sounds like they're really living up to their values. Brian, can you tell us about the lawsuit?
It alleged that Riot employees engaged in a smorgasbord of bad behavior, including crotch grabbing, phantom humping, and sending unsolicited and unwelcome pictures of male genitalia.
In fact,
What is phantom
Brian,
humping?
I gotta shoot off a photo to you real quick. Just want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna flash my dick pic up on the laptop right now.
It also claimed that managers had something called a, quote, hot girl list, ranking female employees by their attractiveness.
If we have a hot boy list and I'm not on it, at IG I'm suing.
The suit also claimed that Riot retaliated against outspoken female employees, denying them promotions and pay raises, and in some cases, assigning, suspending them, or even terminating them.
How did they think this would be okay with everyone?
I don't think they cared, and they were right to not care, it turns out.
Again, it all kind of bubbled over after the Kotaku report. After others started coming forward, Riot issued an apology and said that it would clean up its act.
Good for them. Yeah, in a response/apology that it called our first steps forward, Riot said that inclusivity, diversity, respect, and equality are all non-negotiable. While there is much to improve, there is a tremendous amount of good at Riot that will drive this change. This is our top priority until we get it right.
Well,
Oh, beautiful.
Riot suspended a top executive, COO Scott Gelb, in the aftermath after allegations that he farted in the faces of subordinates as well as touched their balls and their butts. Because everyone knows
Boys Club.
Remember that dude in elementary school, though, who, slapped everybody's balls? I feel like it's a company full of that guy.
So ultimately, he's still at Riot.
Yeah, if you go to old Scotty's LinkedIn page, he's still chief operating officer at Riot. He even went to Harvard Business School last year, so I guess that's to take his face farting skills to the next level.
Did he hand deliver the Epstein donation?
Yeah, so that settles one lawsuit, but there are still more in the works. We'll get to those in a second, but first, let's go back to the most important subjects at hand, farting balls and butts. You know where you can put all those things in a cozy, warm package this holiday season?
Where?
A pair of MeUndies! Today's episode is brought to you by MeUndies, and by this time of year, the planners and Virgos of the world have checked everything off their list, and while the rest of us last-minute people are running around like psychos trying to get our gifts in order, MeUndies has everyone on your list covered. And this time of year, you know how it is, it's cold out, you don't want to leave your house. MeUndies wants you to know that it's okay not to, and you can just hang out this winter where they got sizes from extra small to 4XL with plenty of brand new products, and options for getting cozy are endless. When they say cozy, they mean it, because undies that are 3 times softer than cotton, yeah, that's no joke. This holiday season, you can cozy up also in their robes for men and women, and treat your feet with the soft new slippers, and of course match the whole damn thing with their cute new baby bodysuit. With brand new holiday prints and cozy products, MeUndies has a gift for literally everyone on your list, and they have a great offer for our viewers today. For any first-time purchasers, you can get 15% off and free shipping, especially because they have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So to get 15% off your first pair, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, just head to MeUndies.com/InsideGaming.
Thank you about that good underwear that you told us about. So, getting back to the story, there are actually 2 more suits filed by 2 women late last year, and they involved wrongful termination and sexual harassment.
How Riot dealt with those lawsuits caused even more controversy. Earlier this year, the developer filed a motion to force 2 of the women suing the company into private arbitration.
So Riot's lawyers argue that the women waived their right to sue when they were hired. Riot isn't the only company that has done this, not by a long shot, but it's controversial because lots of people feel that it's a way for companies to keep embarrassing details out of the public eye. It is.
100%.
For a lot of Riot's employees, that all is just a bridge too far. So Brian, you got more for us?
Yeah, so earlier this year in May, actually more than 200 people walked off the job at Riot Games. It was a huge deal. They were protesting the way it handles the sexual discrimination lawsuits, specifically the arbitration deal. Riot didn't give in to their demands, but management said they would let newly hired employees waive the forced arbitration clause. So I guess that was nice of them.
Apparently everyone else still gets forced into arbitration. Sounds like they've really turned over a new leaf.
So what have we learned from all this? Corporations can treat their employees however the hell they want, and even if they get sued, they won't even notice.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
All you have to do is issue a sad blog post and say you're making changes, and you don't even have to fire the people responsible, because you apologized.
Yeah, this is definitely a bad headline for Riot, but they've had lots of those over the last year and a half, and League of Legends seems to be doing just fine.
Yeah, I mean, if we've learned anything this year, it's that no one cares about the companies that make the games. It's as long as the games are good, Diablo taught us anything. Yeah, while its numbers have fallen a bit over the last decade, it is still one of the biggest esports games in the world.
It still draws up to 8 million concurrent players per day. That was according to stats from Riot. The research firm Newzoo said it's also the most viewed game by esports hours watched on Twitch and YouTube. It's also the 2nd most viewed game by recreational hours watched. I don't know how they divide those out, but whatever. It's still really popular.
These are my serious game watching hours,
Yeah.
and these are just recreational.
I don't understand how people watch this game. It's just not, there's nothing to look at.
Yeah, I liked watching like StarCraft 2 because at least that was like, they were 2 different armies, they had different colors. League of Legends, I have no idea.
Just a few months ago, Riot announced that it's got a bunch of new games in development, as well as a documentary and animated series. We've been waiting for that one.
So at the end of the day, Riot is going to be fine despite all of its crappy behavior, and that's kind of just a sad reminder of how much power employers have and how little employees do. It's honestly one of the reasons we're seeing for more calls for unionization in the video game industry. You know, something that a lot of people think is pretty long overdue.
Brian, there's evidence of that elsewhere too, right?
Yeah, so there was that protest by Blizzard employees over the way they handled management punishing a Hearthstone player over his Hong Kong protest. So some of Blizzard employees, I think it was like a silent walkout kind of deal, but the Riot Walkout was really notable for its size. More than 200 people. The LA Times called it the first of its kind in the video game industry, and they added there's a growing interest in unionization among game developers.
The Riot Walkout wasn't tied to a unionization move, and organizers said it was specifically to protest forced arbitration.
Yeah, but at least one organizing group, Game Workers Unite, was at the event to said it was at the event to offer support, and there were others in the industry like the team behind Super Meat Boy who also offered support.
Yeah, so who knows? We might look back at this Riot mess as an event that convinced people to get organized.
But back to the settlement though, let's do some of that math we were teasing earlier and break down how much that settlement actually hurt Riot.
Yeah, short answer, it did not.
Oh.
Just didn't. Here's some perspective. League of Legends made $1.4 billion in revenue last year. A $10 million fine is 0.714% of that.
So this fine isn't exactly gonna break the bank at Riot. To put that in perspective, if you made 40 grand, that would be like paying a fine of a little more than 285 bucks.
It's basically like you're going 15 over the speed limit. It's a speeding ticket.
That's not nothing, but it's not gonna put you in the poorhouse either.
Yeah, I hope Riot's wrist doesn't sting after that slap.
Yeah. Brian, how are they splitting up this huge, meager settlement?
So it's going to be split among roughly 1,000 women who worked at Riot dating back to late 2014. How much each person will get, though, varies depending on how long they worked there. If you averaged it out just evenly, it would be $10,000 a person. But again, it'll vary depending on the person and their length of how long they had to get farted in the face by Riot's COO.
America under Yang.
$10,000 for everyone.
The fart dividend.
Yeah.
Most people have never heard of Andrew Yang. Get the out of here.
Regardless, the point is that all those bad headlines might not be fun for Riot's PR department, but it doesn't exactly seem to stop people from playing League of Legends.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's what matters most.
And if you're a business and you get sued, just remember the court system is there to protect you.
Exactly, yeah. They'll sit down with you, work out how much you can afford, and make sure that you can keep doing what you do, which is, slapping your employees on the balls and farting in women's faces.
How was that?
He's 2 hours ahead, so he's happy to get to the weekend. Remember that big gender discrimination suit against Riot Games? Well, good news, they settled it.
Oh boy, or should I say, oh people. Let the drama begin. What did Riot admit to and how much are they having to pony up?
We actually don't know because the terms were not disclosed. Elise.
Hey, it's not my fault for once. And that's quite disappointing.